Imagine this: you're standing in front of a mirror. The person staring back at you knows every weakness, every fear, every excuse you've ever made. That person has the power to talk you out of your dreams or push you toward them. It's not the world that's holding you back, it's you. Today we're going to face that reflection. We're going to uncover why the battle between who you are and who you're meant to be is the most important fight of your life. You can run from it, deny it, or fight it, but you can't escape it. So sit tight, because by the end of this speech, you'll have the tools to stop being your own enemy and start becoming your own hero. The greatest opponent you will ever face in your life isn't out there in the world. It's not the competition, the critics, or even the challenges that seem to block your path. It's not the people who doubt you, the ones who underestimate you, or those who tell you that your dreams are too big. The greatest opponent you will ever face is the one staring back at you in the mirror. That opponent knows everything about you, your fears, your insecurities, your excuses. It knows your weaknesses better than anyone else ever could, and it uses them against you. That opponent is you. When we talk about barriers to success, most people point to external factors. They'll say it's a lack of resources, a lack of support, or circumstances beyond their control. And yes, those things can be real obstacles, but they're not the ultimate ones. Think about it. How many times have you had the opportunity to act but hesitated because you doubted yourself? How many times have you started something only to let fear convince you to stop? How many dreams have you put on hold, telling yourself you're not ready or not capable? The truth is, the external world has very little control over your life compared to the internal battles you fight every single day. Fear is one of the most cunning adversaries you'll ever face, and it lives inside you. Fear doesn't knock on your door and announce itself. It creeps in through the cracks of your thoughts. It disguises itself as logic, whispering things like, "What if you fail?" Or "What will people think?" It plants seeds of doubt and waters them with every missed opportunity, every mistake, every moment of hesitation. And the worst part, it doesn't need to defeat you outright. All it has to do is convince you not to try. But fear isn't the only weapon your inner opponent wields. It also has doubt, the quiet but persistent voice that questions your worth and abilities. Doubt tells you that you're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough. It points out every flaw and magnifies it until it's all you can see. And once doubt takes hold, it's hard to shake. It paralyzes you, keeping you stuck in a cycle of inaction. You end up sabotaging yourself, not because you're incapable, but because you've convinced yourself that you are. Then there's procrastination, the master of disguise. Procrastination doesn't say don't do it, it says do it later. It makes you believe there's always more time, always a better moment, always another day. But later turns into never, and the opportunities slip away while you're busy waiting for the perfect time. Procrastination isn't just about laziness, it's often rooted in fear and doubt. It's a way to avoid discomfort, to delay facing the hard truths and challenges that come with growth. Your inner opponent thrives on these things: fear, doubt, procrastination. It feeds on your reluctance to step out of your comfort zone, to take risks, to fail and get back up again. It doesn't want you to grow, because growth means change, and change is uncomfortable. It wants you to stay exactly where you are, in the safety of the familiar, even if that safety comes at the cost of your dreams. This isn't a fight you can win with brute force or sheer willpower alone. It requires awareness, the ability to recognize when your inner opponent is at work. It requires resilience, the strength to push through fear and doubt and keep moving forward. And most importantly, it requires consistency. Winning this battle isn't about one grand victory, it's about showing up every day, ready to face the challenges within yourself and refusing to back down. The hardest battles are the ones we fight against ourselves, because they're never ending. They don't stop when you achieve one goal or overcome one fear. They continue as long as you have aspirations, as long as you want more from life. And that's not a bad thing. It's a sign that you're alive, that you're striving, that you're growing. The power of choice is one of the most profound forces you'll ever encounter in your life. It shapes everything about who you are, where you go, and what you become. Every single day you are presented with countless opportunities to choose, whether you realize it or not. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning to the moment you close them at night, your decisions, big and small, weave together the fabric of your life. It's not fate or chance that determines your destiny. It's the choices you make moment by moment that define who you are and what you achieve. Choices are deceptively simple. They don't always announce themselves with fanfare or a spotlight. Sometimes they show up in the most mundane ways, like deciding whether to get out of bed early or hit the snooze button. But those seemingly small decisions add up over time. They set the tone for your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your results. The power of choice lies in its ability to compound. One good decision leads to another, just as one poor choice can set off a chain reaction. The beauty and challenge of choice is that it puts the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. There's no one else to blame when things don't go the way you want. It's easy to point fingers at circumstances, other people, or bad luck, but deep down you know that your life is a reflection of the decisions you've made. Even when things happen that are beyond your control, you still have a choice in how you respond. Will you let setbacks defeat you, or will you use them as fuel to keep going? Every choice you make has a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're inherently saying no to something else. That's why clarity is so important. You have to know what you want and why you want it. Because without a clear sense of purpose, it's easy to get lost in distractions and detours. The world is full of noise, full of shiny objects and tempting shortcuts, but the power of choice means you have the ability to stay focused, to prioritize what truly matters over what merely feels good in the moment. The hardest choices are often the most rewarding. It's easy to choose comfort over challenge, but growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you push yourself, when you step into the unknown and take risks. Choosing to invest in yourself, to work hard when no one is watching, to keep going when it would be easier to quit, those are the choices that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. But with great power comes great responsibility. The power of choice means you have to own your decisions, even when they don't turn out the way you hoped. It's not about being perfect or making the right choice every single time. It's about learning from your mistakes and using them to make better decisions in the future. Every failure is a lesson, every setback an opportunity to grow. The only true failure is refusing to choose at all. Indecision is one of the most insidious forms of self-sabotage. When you avoid making a choice, you're still making a choice to stay stuck, to let life happen to you instead of taking control. Fear of making the wrong decision can paralyze you, but the truth is, not choosing is often worse than choosing and failing. At least when you make a decision, you're moving forward. You're learning, growing, and creating momentum. Your choices are your power. They are the one thing no one can take away from you. No matter what happens in life, no matter how difficult things get, you always have a choice. It's up to you to use that power wisely to make decisions that align with your values and bring you closer to your goals. It's not about perfection or getting it right every time. It's about progress and the courage to keep choosing no matter how hard it gets. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to achieving success and overcoming obstacles. It's not always easy to face, but it's essential. When you hold yourself accountable, you take ownership of your life, your actions, and your results. It means recognizing that no one else is responsible for where you are or where you're going. Accountability strips away the excuses, the justifications, and the blame, leaving you with one undeniable truth: you are the author of your own story. The thing about accountability is that it forces you to confront reality. It's easy to point fingers at external circumstances or other people when things go wrong. Maybe you didn't get the promotion because your boss didn't notice your hard work. Maybe your fitness goals fell short because you didn't have the time. These excuses might feel valid in the moment, but they don't change the outcome. Accountability asks you to look beyond the excuses and ask yourself what you could have done differently. It's not about self-criticism or tearing yourself down. It's about self-awareness and the willingness to learn and grow. Taking accountability means understanding that your choices and actions, or lack thereof, have consequences. It's recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. Life will throw challenges your way, unexpected events, setbacks, and failures, but the way you handle those moments is entirely up to you. Accountability turns adversity into an opportunity. Instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you become an active participant in your journey, finding ways to adapt, overcome, and move forward. One of the most challenging aspects of accountability is accepting responsibility for your mistakes. It's uncomfortable to admit when you've fallen short or made the wrong decision. It's easier to deflect blame, to focus on factors outside your control, or to pretend the mistake didn't happen. But accountability doesn't let you hide. It shines a light on your missteps and asks you to own them. And while that might feel harsh in the moment, it's also incredibly freeing. When you take responsibility for your mistakes, you take back your power. You stop being controlled by fear or shame, and you start taking steps to make things right. Accountability isn't just about owning your mistakes, it's also about celebrating your successes. When you take full responsibility for your efforts and achievements, you get to experience the satisfaction of knowing that you earned your victories. There's a sense of pride and confidence that comes from knowing that you put in the work, stayed disciplined, and achieved your goals. Accountability ensures that your successes are genuine, not the result of luck or someone else's intervention. This tool also pushes you to be honest with yourself. It requires you to ask the hard questions. Am I really doing everything I can to achieve my goals? Am I prioritizing the right things? Am I showing up for myself every day? Or am I cutting corners and expecting results? These questions can be uncomfortable, but they're necessary. Accountability demands self-reflection and a willingness to face the truth, no matter how difficult it might be. It's important to understand that accountability isn't a solitary effort. While it starts with you, it's often strengthened by involving others. Sharing your goals and progress with someone you trust creates a sense of external accountability that can help keep you on track. Knowing that someone else is aware of your commitments can provide an extra layer of motivation and discipline. Whether it's a mentor, a coach, or a friend, having someone to hold you accountable can make a significant difference. Accountability also builds resilience. When you take responsibility for your actions and outcomes, you become less afraid of failure. You realize that mistakes are simply part of the process, not the end of the road. This mindset allows you to take more risks, to push yourself further, and to recover more quickly when things don't go as planned. Accountability transforms failure from something to be feared into something to be learned from. Ultimately, accountability is about empowerment. It's about recognizing that you have the ability to shape your life and your future through your choices and actions. It's not always easy to hold yourself accountable, but the rewards are worth it. It's a practice that builds character, fosters growth, and creates a foundation for lasting success. Failure is a concept that many people fear and try to avoid at all costs. It's seen as something to be ashamed of, a sign that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But what if failure isn't the enemy? What if it's actually one of the most powerful tools for growth and success? The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a critical part of it. To embrace failure is to embrace the journey, the process, and the lessons that come with striving for something greater. Failure is inevitable when you're pushing boundaries and aiming for goals that challenge you. If you never fail, it means you're not taking risks, and if you're not taking risks, you're not growing. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with detours, obstacles, and setbacks. Every failure along the way is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to improve. It's in these moments of struggle that you discover your true potential and develop the resilience needed to keep moving forward. One of the biggest misconceptions about failure is that it defines you. People often internalize their failures, believing that if they fail at something, they are failures. But failure is an event, not an identity. It's something that happens, not something you are. Understanding this distinction is crucial because it allows you to separate your worth as a person from the outcomes of your efforts. You are not your mistakes, you are the lessons you take from them and the actions you take afterward. Failure has a way of revealing what doesn't work. It strips away the illusions and false assumptions, forcing you to confront reality. It's a harsh but effective teacher, one that doesn't let you cling to habits, strategies, or beliefs that aren't serving you. Each time you fail, you gain a deeper understanding of what needs to change, what needs to improve, and what you need to do differently moving forward. This process of trial and error is how innovation happens, how breakthroughs are made, and how progress is achieved. Failure also builds character. It tests your determination, your resilience, and your ability to stay focused on your goals despite setbacks. When you fail, you're faced with the choice, give up or get back up. The easy path is to quit, to let failure convince you that it's not worth trying again. But the people who achieve great things are the ones who choose to persevere. They use failure as fuel, as a reason to work harder, to dig deeper, and to prove to themselves that they can overcome whatever challenges come their way. Another important aspect of failure is the perspective it provides. It forces you to reflect on what truly matters and to reevaluate your priorities. Sometimes failure is the wake-up call you need to recognize that you're on the wrong path or pursuing something for the wrong reasons. It gives you the clarity to realign your goals and focus on what's truly meaningful to you. Without failure, you might never have the chance to discover what you're truly capable of or what you truly want out of life. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that you don't have all the answers, that you're not perfect, and that there's always room for improvement. This humility is a powerful asset because it keeps you open to learning and growth. When you accept that you don't have to know everything or get everything right the first time, you give yourself the freedom to experiment, to take risks, and to explore new possibilities. It's important to recognize that failure is temporary. In the moment, it might feel overwhelming, like the end of the world, but time has a way of putting things into perspective. What feels like a devastating setback today might turn out to be a pivotal moment that sets you on a better path. Many of the most successful people in history have experienced significant failures before achieving greatness. Their stories are a testament to the fact that failure is not a dead end, it's a stepping stone. Failure is not something to fear or avoid. It's something to embrace, to learn from, and to use as a catalyst for growth. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the closer you get to achieving your goals. Every failure is a lesson, a building block, and a necessary part of the journey towards success. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it, what you take from it, and how you use it to propel yourself forward. Discipline is the cornerstone of success, the foundation upon which all achievements are built. It is what sustains you when motivation fades, and it is the force that bridges the gap between your goals and the actions needed to reach them. While motivation can inspire you to start, discipline is what ensures you continue even when the initial excitement has worn off. It is the quiet, consistent commitment to doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Motivation is often seen as the driving force behind success, but it's fleeting by nature. It comes and goes, influenced by circumstances, emotions, and external factors. You might feel motivated after hearing an inspiring speech, reading a powerful story, or envisioning your goals. But that surge of energy doesn't last forever. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., or when you're faced with a tough challenge, motivation alone isn't enough to get you out of bed or push you forward. Discipline, on the other hand, is dependable. It doesn't rely on feelings or external triggers. It's a decision you make every day to prioritize your goals over your comfort. Discipline is about consistency. It's not about grand gestures or monumental efforts. It's about showing up day after day and putting in the work. It's about the small, seemingly insignificant actions that compound over time to create extraordinary results. Whether it's spending an extra hour practicing your craft, sticking to a fitness routine, or consistently learning and improving, discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It requires focus, commitment, and the ability to delay gratification, choosing long-term success over short-term pleasure. One of the challenges of discipline is that it often requires you to go against your natural instincts. As humans, we're wired to seek comfort, to avoid pain, and to gravitate toward what's easy and familiar. Discipline asks you to do the opposite. It demands that you embrace discomfort, confront your weaknesses, and push yourself beyond your limits. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you challenge yourself to do the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline also builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and reliable. This self-trust is invaluable because it fuels confidence and strengthens your resolve. On the flip side, every time you break a commitment to yourself, you erode that trust, making it harder to stay disciplined in the future. Discipline, therefore, isn't just about achieving external success. It's about cultivating an inner sense of integrity and self-respect. It's important to recognize that discipline is a skill, not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with, it's something you develop through practice and repetition. Like any skill, it requires effort and patience. You don't become disciplined overnight, and you will inevitably face setbacks along the way. The key is to keep going, to get back on track when you slip up. and to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Discipline is a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Discipline also requires a clear sense of purpose. It's much easier to stay disciplined when you know what you're working toward and why it matters. Without a clear goal or a strong why, it's easy to lose focus or give up when things get tough. Your purpose is the fuel that keeps the fire of discipline burning, even in the face of challenges and distractions. It's what gives you the strength to say no to temptations and yes to the hard work that will bring you closer to your dreams. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes or feel tempted to stray from your path. It's about making more good choices than bad ones, about consistently putting in the effort even when it's difficult. Discipline is forgiving yourself when you slip up, learning from your mistakes, and moving forward with renewed determination. It's not about never falling, it's about always getting back up. At its core, discipline is about freedom. It might seem like a paradox, but the more disciplined you are, the more freedom you have. Discipline gives you control over your actions, your habits, and your life. It allows you to break free from the limitations of instant gratification, fear, and procrastination. It empowers you to create the life you want, rather than settling for what's easy or convenient. So here's the deal. It's not about beating the person next to you. It's about beating the person you were yesterday. The person staring back at you in the mirror isn't your enemy, they're your rival. A rival you can conquer. The fight is daily. It's raw. It's relentless. But when you choose to fight, every single day you win. Look yourself in the eye and say, I'm ready, because once you master the battle within, nothing outside of you can break you. Are you ready to step into the ring? Not against the world, but against yourself.